not caring at all.
Well, exactly, yes.
I'm gonna remove this one.
Well, look, we're this close to a shutout. I mean, you guys almost had the shutout.
Just field goal, I know, that's right.
Just field goal.
That's fine, you know, we don't have to shut it out, you know, win is a win, right?
Yeah, holding the 3 points is good.
That's pretty good,
That's great.
We'll take
It
that.
froze again.
And another victory, of course, for the Dolphins. Dolphins 21 over the Saints 17.
I put it out and
The
put it back
Dolphins now
in.
at 5-7. Kind of surprising the way they got started. And Saints not a huge surprise. They slipped to 2-10. But Devon Achane rushed for 134 yards and a touchdown. Now Tua was only 12 of 23 for 157 yards and an
Why is it
interception.
flipped?
Meanwhile, Tyler Show was 26 of
Yeah,
38
it's
for
flipped.
239 yards, 2 touchdowns.
We have to flip it
and an
in here.
interception.
It's StreamYard.
And for the first time in his career, by the way, Devon Achane got past 1,000 yards for the season. So that's kind of exciting for him. And Riley Patterson had
Where's
4
the
field goals.
YouTube?
I mean, he really helped build a lot of that offense scoring
Fnn.
just with his foot. And Minka
Fnn News
Fitzpatrick had an
TV.
interception on the Saints' 2-point conversion attempt and ran it the other way for 2 points for the Dolphins to make the final score 21-17 instead of the possibility of the Saints playing it up 19-19 if they had made that conversion. So that was sort of an interesting play there. And the Saints, you know, I think we may have talked about the Saints kicker having some issues in the past.
Yeah.
And so that they may have found their kicker of the future. Charlie Smith had his first kick for the Saints and got a 56-yard field goal in the rain. So in the rain. So let's hope that maybe the Saints have
You
found
keep
their
showing me
kicker.
fonts.
So good weekend. All 3 Florida teams.
Yeah.
coming back in victory. So that's
Yeah.
kind of exciting.
Yeah, that is great. Hey, look, you don't see that often.
No, not certainly not this season or not any season in recent memory. So that's kind of exciting to see.
And I think the biggest thing too is that both, like usually it's
Is
like
he from-
2 out of the 3 teams.
Oh,
But right now it's like
it's not.
really cool. Solid.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a
What?
good team right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, I
I
It's
mean,
working here.
you guys are just getting it winning on a daily basis. And Tampa is kind of like their team.
This is YouTube,
But still a good
Willie,
team.
it froze. Look at
And I
the
think right now it's
background.
just really just
No,
been
not the thing. The whole your computer. Look,
Yeah,
it's
I
showing
think if they
Wirecast, it's showing
continue that
YouTube,
streak,
and all of
yeah,
this is
they
black.
end up
Yeah, it all started against
What just
my watch.
happened?
with that one win. It's true. Yeah.
I don't know. What happened?
That's right. It was a momentum. Shift
What's on
right there.
Facebook?
Yes. It is.
See it's Facebook, okay.
Let's go into some of the other action from the NFL. And about that, actually, before I leave, I want one thing I want to we talked about Tua a moment ago. Wanted to mention, in case folks haven't heard, the Orlando Pirates Pro Football League are actually coming to TSN starting next April. Tua's brother, Talia Tagovailoa, is going to be the quarterback.
Is he
for the
really?
Pirates.
Did it- you fixed it, right?
We'll be talking
Now,
about
see, there's going to be more eyes now on
It's
working.
Because I'm telling you,
Wait a minute. Where? Let me go over here because we're looking at too many
that's
things.
cool. So we got some.
Let me transition here.
You fixed it.
We're good. So what we're doing is you're looking at YouTube with the black
We'll be talking
screen,
more about the Atlanta Pirates.
and this is Wirecast. So maybe YouTube with the black screen.
Eight games in that season.
I don't know what happened.
It's-
It glitched out.
Right.
Wow.
But it's okay. Right here. Now, where's YouTube? This is YouTube.
But it's working.
Yes.
So we're good.
The younger brother.
The younger brother.
We did it. You did it.
Let's see how he does. He has a great season. You never know.
Yes.
That's all these guys. They know football.
Yeah. So, this is the chat part. So we're just looking at it
Yeah, Atlanta
differently.
Pirates.
See, this is YouTube Live. That's the chat section. And over here, this is Wirecast itself. And over here, you're in control of.
Yeah, I'm typing.
But they're here in Orlando now.
So
Orlando Pirates dealing with
This
that.
is the
But,
second YouTube page.
Texans
So
beating
it's
the
Fnn
Colts
News
20-16.
TV, but I have a program for the national news,
CJ
which
Stroud
has
ended up
like 5,000
22-35,
subscribers. This is
76
on
yards,
interception.
interception. His first game in 4 he cleared the concussion protocol finally on Friday. And Daniel Jones, meanwhile, 201 yards, touchdowns.
So everything is
It
working.
was really wide receiver Nico Collins who scored the tiebreaker touchdown on a 7-yard
I
run
told you it was
in the
awesome.
fourth quarter. And so the Colts now have lost 3 of their past 4.
How about that, man? They were so high.
So it's key. Over here, you can be the put content.
He's playing first. He's got
Let's say we
fibula
be able to put like some of the things that we're talking about. We can upload videos and
Sauce Gardner. Oh, might have a serious gap.
yeah, a lot of people.
But this is for the Jaguars, it's the Racing Colts on Sunday, so we'll see if that plays out.
Yes, and then you might have like
Jaguars, it's not.
he can communicate with you within week, and then he'll have his phone on, and he said, "Mike, you got to start commercial." So he can hear it, then he'll stop. And then he'll put in the commercial. Yes. Yes.
And then this.
So moving on to the Chargers beat the Raiders.
And so over here,
Justin Herbert threw 2 touchdowns.
you'll leave that. I can transfer back and forth, switch to cameras on this
Ashton
one.
Gentry ran for only
So like
41 yards.
you control and put in all the other ones.
They fall 2 and 10.
You-
4.
Let me see.
I'm upset about that game. Justin Herbert's hand is not too badly, but I think it's broken. If I'm not mistaken. At least that's what I heard. So
Yeah, that's what I said. Some fracture. Yeah.
We'll see how that affects him going forward.
So did it
And then
transition?
for the 49ers, they spoiled Drew Sanders' first home start. Unfortunately,
Let me go to my-
49ers won 26.
I'll go to my-
the Browns with only
Yeah.
8 points. The 49ers are now
Transition
in 4 all the Browns 3-9. Brock Purdy passed for a touchdown, rushed for a touchdown. Second start in the NFL, first one in front of the Cleveland fans, but
It was a rough.
it was a little rough for him.
Only like 100, I want to say 6 yards.
Something like that. Well, Purdy ended up a little better at 16,
You got to pick that one here.
68 yards.
Okay, but didn't have to do as much. But this is
Yeah.
You can do it. It's working.
Niners team, I mean, they're just so
So,
every, and that's the thing too. That he says, I mean, they just.
we'll go.
Yeah, I don't really
We
hold
don't
the
have to do
balls,
live
it's
over
gonna be
here
a part
from
of the
broadcast.
run, but also
You can do it
how
live
much time
from over
is
there,
giving him,
and then
like,
we wouldn't have
how
to
much
have these
time does he
problems.
need to get the ball out?
Instead
Because
of going
those
on
receivers are being
Facebook.
covered, they're not getting-
You'll go live
And
over.
so there would be a sure combination.
Right. And with broadcast, we're just going to be transitioning with the cameras.
On average, we get a lot holding it too long. Right. So it's like that, like, exactly.
You don't need to charge.
Obviously, he's still learning for NFL.
Yeah.
And he did ask the Browns fans for a little bit of patience.
Right.
Hopefully, they're working through some of the
Yeah.
other issues. But
And I didn't record them. I don't think I did.
Right, right. And at least he was turning the ball because it's on you, you know, that one. He knew that either throw the ball away or unfortunately take the sack. But he wasn't fumbling and throwing picks. Right. So at least you can't really put the whole game on him. No, there just wasn't enough opportunities. There really wasn't opportunities to score. Sure.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Browns, they finished their 4th losing season in 6 years under Coach Specs. He may possibly have to go for the job before too long. We shall see. But
So they clinched, but in a bad way.
yeah, because at 3-9, even if they win the rest of the season, they still get off kind of losing season, and they're certainly not going to the postseason.
Right.
Browns. But the Panthers kind of surprised the Rams.
How about this?
Yeah.
They're one of those teams that just flip flop
Can
from.
we just show you where the content is
It's
at?
pretty wild. I mean, Panthers beat the Rams 31-28. Panthers announced at 6 while Rams hit 93. Twice now, 50 6 yards and 3 touchdowns. Left down, 4th down. And the Panthers managed to force 3 turnovers by Matthew Stafford. And 2 in the first quarter. Yeah,
We learned that we just need a
I
little
mean, it was
bit of
just, it was
time.
bad. It was bad.
It was rough.
Now
So
we figure it
not
out.
only did
But we
Stafford
need to
win
understand
16
what
wins,
is the system.
but by
Because
intercepting
that's how I
Stafford
got
twice, they basically put Stafford's NFL record. impressive record, but that record is yes.
A lot of people lost a lot of money because they probably all been on the Rams to win the game.
Right.
There wasn't many people taking Carolina as good as they were playing on the road.
If they have
Right. Now, you sort of you're watching the games over the weekend. A lot of jokes going on that Jackson returning one of Stanford's intercepting it for a 48-yard touchdown. So you're like Michael Jackson. Yeah, there. Yeah. You know, but you can look online and see all different coverage of Michael Jackson. And also, an amazing win.
Yeah. Yeah, this one.
That one. Yeah, I mean, that's one. It's very impressive, even though it's still great.
There was 4 total. It was Kimbrough, yeah. Oh, it was Brock Bowers. Oh, had a really nice also. Well, yeah, one of our rookies on Washington. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. But I'll get it after the we'll get that, yeah.
But let's talk about the Jets. I know we were talking about the Jaguars playing the Jets in 2 weeks. So that's actually something they managed to beat. Basically, they had a 56-yard field goal this time.
You can have this chair back. Switch your computer.
He did, so we have a pretty impressive kick. And then
Don't move this in.
at the buzzer. And so with the victory, the Jets probably hurt their chances of the number 1 pick. Right? But the Jets have now won 3 of the last 5 games. And Jermaine Taylor had basically a 10-yard touchdown run, 2-yard touchdown pass to Adonai Mitchell, and into the last 172-yard passing. Meanwhile, Kirk Cousins for the Falcons, 21 for 33, 34 yards touchdown. We get the Falcons in it, not bad for 37-year-olds, but not enough to beat the Jets. So the Falcons were at 4-8, Jets at 3-9. Jermaine Taylor, he's been kind of a nice surprise.
Yes, he one of those backups who can lead. Yeah. And he's done that. I mean, yes, he showed that in the past. Yes. And of course, he had his injuries and stuff that so many different people, right? But we all know he can't lead an offense, and he can use his legs as well to escape pressure.
That's true. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Some fields, right? We all want to see him well, and yet this doesn't seem to be getting the opportunity to prove his ability.
I think you just need more development, or just but yeah.
And maybe where it gets back, get some of those experiences to something, but we'll see. Meanwhile, the Seahawks blew out the Vikings 26-0. Seahawks have now split to 4-8. Ernest Jones' 4th return of interception, 84 yards for the first touchdown of his career. Take away from that Seahawks. It was the first shutout victory in more than a decade. I know you're talking about not getting a shutout against the Titans, but Seahawks did it against the Vikings. Good luck. And meanwhile, the rookie quarterback Max Brosmer's first touchdown, 4 interceptions, including the pick six, ended with 126 yards and 19 passing. Not really much better than J.J. McCarthy, so if they see what.
And on that Vikings note, I actually found out because you do my fantasy football.
Yeah.
And I have Wheelan on there.
Yes.
This is one of the old guys. He's had so many great games in the past. Like, you never know what happened, right? Yeah. And I had found out after the news that he's actually released. Yeah, he requested the release. They granted him. So clearly, you see the direction of the team. He's also getting maybe one very big ball. So I can imagine a guy that's probably wants to be a competitive team. So I think with what's going on,
is a shame. I think Brodsky, I think he basically announced this is going to be his last season.
Okay, yeah.
Now I know he's something that we've seen at many of the local golf tournaments here in Florida. He's been at the Hilton Transportation Tournament. He's also played at pro. They Arnold Palmer Invitational played pro. My guess is we'll continue to see Adam Fielder probably more on the golf course than maybe not on the football field. But it'll be interesting to see who's going to pick him up because certainly there are some things that services throughout the season. And I think he knows that are going to the postseason this year.
Let's see, maybe somebody picks him up. So, just for that extra body, just for some of the better presence to be able to come in and help some of these young guys with the knowledge aspect. I mean, I say close to I think it's been at least 8 years plus 8. And so, he's obviously been one of those great slot receivers that's done so well. And it's been his performance.
Can I go and get them?
He can't be sure.
I'm gonna pass that.
You see the team that just wants that extra body, that extra sure hands capture, catch the ball and traffic and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we can see if picks him up.
Let's see.
We shall see. And moving on to the Bills versus the Steelers.
They've been on
Very decisive victory for the Bills. The Steelers 7. So Bills are now at 8-4. All Steelers flip to 6-6. Josh Allen threw for a touchdown and ran for another. We hear that a lot. Aaron Rodgers came back after missing last week's game. He was able to 117 yards. Josh Allen only threw for 123 yards. But James Cook ran for 144 yards and also 3 yards. He was able to pick up some of the slack there.
That's one of those games where he just didn't have to do. Josh Allen didn't have to do. Same as Purdy. Right. You just got that weapons. You have the people get it done. It's kind of hard.
Okay, Bruce there.
Yeah.
So good victory for that. And let's talk a little bit about Denver and Washington.
Yeah, and before I get to them, which I know I'm not looking forward to talking about, but I wanted to say too on the Pittsburgh side, like Tomlin, he's been especially there's some clamoring. That's going to bring up. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, it's interesting because Tomlin was a guy who, for years and years and years, Steelers year after year put together winning seasons. Sometimes make the postseason, sometimes no. But I mean, the conflict was like Tomlin. Well, we'll see what they decide. Kind of interesting that fans are not giving it any leeway here. But I know the Steelers fans expect more. They definitely expect more.
They won, at this point, like 6 championships at this point. I mean, there's obviously expectations are going to be high, but I think there's, we're 4 years now from amazing time. But it's still, we're in the same season. There's still opportunity there. I think the time is Baltimore Ravens.
Well, that's the crazy thing. They're still in a position where they still can make
They can still make a postseason, right? So, I mean, it's not like I think it's a rough 4 games.
Yes.
But it's Mike Tomlin. He's been around and he knows that I can't see all on the coach where they're at, right? We'll see, I guess. But I think it's a little early.
Well, yeah. So let's see. I certainly would like to believe that Tomlin gets to keep his job, but it really depends on what happens the rest of the season.
Right. Let's see that.
But Denver Washington game,
yes.
In overtime, the Broncos won to match the Patriots record. So the Patriots in Denver at the top of the AFC right now. You want to talk a little bit about that? As a Commanders fan,
I feel like I have this game, I didn't even watch the whole thing. I caught the highlights from the last 4 games. But and I usually watch it like I go off the road from DC. I'm like, and then I just went to cover the game. Example.
Yes.
I'm not there.
Right.
But it it was obviously an exciting game. Marcus Mariota, just a great offense.
Yeah.
And he had a couple of bonehead throws and just ridiculous hit.
Yeah.
Made no sense. But he really played well. They were in position. No overtime, they moved by the one point. And even Bo Nix, I mean, he had a great game, and this was his return to DC. With the from the area. He had some there, and there were a lot of people in the stadium there watching him cheer on. And he had his struggles. I mean, he had struggles. He had a couple great passes, but he had his struggles. I think for Washington, the reason why we looked so much more together was because not only is coaching duties now in Dan Quinn's hands, but it uses control better with control the defensive side of the ball. It's to simplify it. But I think also Terrible Corner just came back. And being a top 10 receiver in the city, you notice right when he's back, it's like, okay, that's our big man play right there where we can go to him and slant. He's a deep threat. Just him being on the field, it opens up the offense. Right. And so you see that immediately when you're like, and that's that receiver that changes the game. And so even with JB leading the way at the quarterback, Terry Ford just came out just amazing plays. I mean, he targeted 15, which is the right way to do this, right? He catches 10 balls, I want to say 100 some yards, and one called back from him. So, I mean, he just changed it. And then we had that amazing catch. It was actually from Tristan Hurts. Yeah. He's not a factor on offense at all. But he came out and says 1 catch for 5 yards and a touchdown. He hasn't caught anything this season, but they brought him out. And look, he had an amazing play. It was very Odell-esque was the way this play looked. So, yeah. But for me, I would have been nice to see a win. At this point, we're clearly not going to the postseason. And it would have been cool to have that momentum. The only reason we lost was because we went for 2. We weren't overtime. We don't want to risk injury going. So I can understand Dan Quinn's decision there to not go for just a good to keep it going. Sure. And the ball just.
Well, that's it. So they lost 27-26, and you're talking about JD. I mean, JD Daniels may return soon. I guess the question is, if they just let him recover completely and start fresh next season.
Yeah. I mean, the talk of talent is that they need to have a decision on, approved play. They're looking at bringing him back this season. So it's possible that he gets back this Sunday. He has already been activated in practice, so he's been at practice. He just hasn't been activated on the field yet for physical work. Right. But we should have that answer by the end of the week. I think it's Thursday or so. Yeah. Thursday, we should have that answer, and they're going to, of course, if we activate their right now, it's looking probably this path. Right. So at this point, we're looking at likely how they're going to play this Sunday, and no one knows what that's going to look like yet. We're assuming less scrambling, less plays that are designed. And I mean, hopefully, that's all you can do. As a Skins fan, all you can do is pray. Right? As a Washington fan, yes, all you can do is pray. Yes, just hope for the best. Of course.
And on the other side, the Broncos they ended up with 2 sacks for the game, make it 51 of the season. Now they are on track to reach the record of 72 sacks for the season. So it'll be interesting to see if they can break that record. And talking about Marcus Mariota, he did finish with 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception he was talking about, and he also ran for 55 yards.
Yeah, he did. So he had a great, almost 300 yards. I didn't even realize that.
Oh yeah,
he was swinging all day.
And meanwhile, Bo Nix, 29-45, 321 yards, touchdown, also an interception. Nix ran for 16 yards. So it's a great game, really.
It really was.
Right after the Commanders. Yeah, I mean, the Commanders are 3-9. To play that well against Denver, who's now 10-2. Not a bad, maybe call it a moral victory, maybe I guess whatever.
Most of us don't believe in them. But I can see the positive from
yes.
The easiest thing to do is come in as a 3-19, have no chance of making easiest thing to do is come in and just look at it on the site or whatever, not look at it, drama groups out of line.
Yeah.
Easy to do it in a skin as a Washington fan. We've seen that.
Yeah.
Year after year. We've
Yes.
had many years we've seen that. Where it's like, oh yeah, let's just grab a popcorn and just see. Well, you know, what is Stan Snyder doing now? That's usually what's going on.
Sure.
And now it's like, okay, look, we can bounce back. We run the season, live probably come back to them. But we can still look where at the end of the day, as a football program, we need to at least look competitive and play with some hard right. We did that.
Absolutely. So, we'll see where the games go from here. But anyway, let's move on to the Thanksgiving games. So we'll just breeze through these. I'm not sure everyone already probably saw the game totally on Thanksgiving Day. But the Packers beat the Lions 31-24. Cowboys beat the Chiefs 31-28. And the Bengals beat the Ravens in the coming back to play the first time since early in the season. It was also interesting. It was the first time since the NFL in the third game on Thanksgiving Day that all three underdogs won.
Wow.
So how about
I
that?
didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah, so, interesting. The Ravens, they're now 6-6. So people are starting to question, what is the market okay? You can see them playing the way he had. Right? And the Chiefs, I mean, they did pretty great, and yet still at 6-6, they're another team that may not in the postseason, which is shocking for the Chiefs. And anyway, we'll see. Still some more football left to be played, so we'll see how those.
Yeah, let's see. I was a Chiefs fan on Thursday, but it didn't go well.
Cowboys got their victory.
With the CeeDee Lamb and what's his name? But the team is two. Dallas offense. Non-city.
Yeah.
And they just look dominant.
Yeah,
they really look dominant.
They've been playing pretty well all of a sudden. Yeah. Cowboys look at 6-5-1.
Yeah, they're okay. Yeah, let's see if they catch that wild card. Let's see. NFC is a little tougher.
Yes.
So we'll see. Let's see what happens.
But and then of course, Black Friday, the Bears upset the Eagles 24. Bears 4.
Yeah.
They're just in the winning streak to 9 games. And running backs, Kyle and both ran for 100. First time the Bears had 200+ yard rushers in the same game since November of 1985. So basically 40 years ago.
85 there.
85. Yeah, Walter Payton and that was the last time. And now it's love that. Love that.
All right. So it was a good football team this year.
Yeah, they're doing all right. And of course, the next Jackson Dart will start.
All right, Jackson.
He's back, but it was nice having David Winston out on the field.
It was.
Good to see him out there. But I'm not sure for Jackson, he's happy to be there.
Yes, and I think every fan is win. Jackson Dart.
Yes.
He's the only one who got anything.
He looks good.
They were in every game that they lost with him. They were literally lost by like a field goal or a point in every single game he's played, and he's had them there. Which is all you can ask for really. So I think everyone's excited. He's electric. He's like that. He has that JD effect. Yeah, how he throws the ball, not talent-wise, but I'm saying how he just throws the ball, his flair. He has fun with the game. He gets in the end zone. You expect him to do something crazy, And I think it's just a fun experience.
Yeah, I think the Giants certainly have a lot of high hopes for Jackson Dart. But for the Patriots, let's face it, the
Patriots are like a top team right now at this point in the league. I mean, they're out front.
Right. So it'll be an interesting game. We'll see how well Jackson Dart does.
Did you know this is at home for
They're in playing Patriots are at home.
All right. Okay.
Yep. And then Thursday night game will be the Cowboys at home and the Lions. Both of those games Monday night tonight, and the Thursday night game will be at 8. Stay tuned. But let's talk a little bit about college football. A lot of things happening in the world of college football. Probably worth mentioning. Probably one of the big stories has got to be Lane Kiffin. I know everyone's got to remember Kiffin was going to go to the Gators, and so he's not. He's going to LSU. But what was crazy is that here's the guy that led Ole Miss basically right to the edge of the college football playoffs, and then leaves to go to LSU, and basically people were starting to say, could there be college football playoff implications? Because you've got Ole Miss at number 6. I mean, it's pretty much given if they're going to be. They should be going to see it, right? If they do not have their head coach and they do not have the other coaches that follow with LSU, because Ole Miss basically gave Lane Kiffin the ultimatum saying, if you go sign with someone else, you're not coaching in the college football playoffs. Okay, I'm leaving, and I'm taking all my coaches with me, and if the coaches don't come, then they can stay here at Ole Miss. You're not coming to LSU later. So it's a very interesting situation. He doesn't. So coaches, they really need that resume. Well, yeah, I guess there's just also the defensive coach that's going to be taking over, and they do go to CFP. And Kevin, by the way, picked for $2 million, so and draft still getting a nice payday. I guess Florida did not want to pay that much to Kiffin. But for Florida, they also hired a new coach. They hired John Summerall from Tulane. John Summerall also coached at Troy, and in the 4 seasons of coaching, he took the team to 4 conference title games. So Summerall was going to be hired earlier in the season after Florida played 21 year in Florida. So the deal was a little bit more cost friendly, I guess, in the sense that in the 6-year deal was only $44.7 million for some. And it's possible that you could actually football playoffs if they did the ACC title game on playoffs. So we'll see. And apparently, Summerall will coach Tulane if they make it to the CFP. Because Florida not going to the goal games as far as right. Even though Florida did beat FSU past weekend. So they're in position. I think it's a great goal as far as certainly no CFP and I believe it's 7 losses. I'm pretty likely that Florida and FSU also will go game this year. And UCF, they lost to BYU at number 11. And so the season is also over for the UCF Knights. No bowl game for UCF for the second consecutive year. They also finished 5-7. So unfortunate end there. And USF, they did beat twice, 2-3. They finished at 9-3. So they're playing an A bowl game. That's a great season. Solid season for USF. Absolutely. Not bad. Miami. Yeah, absolutely. And the Miami Hurricanes finished the season. They beat Pitt 38-7. They finished at number 12, but interestingly enough, they are not going to be in the ACC championships. Who is in the ACC championships? Virginia, your team, and Duke. I was shocked to see Duke all the tiebreakers. Duke, who is currently a 5-loss team, is in the because there were a bunch of teams at 62. One of them, because the tiebreakers, they get to pick Virginia for the championship. And that has a lot of CFP implications as well, because if by some miracle, and look, I'm a Duke fan, so I want to see this happen. Right. If Duke wins, if they beat Virginia and they win the ACC championship, they're then at 8-5, and you would think normally, as a group of 5 teams, ACC conference champs could be in the college football playoffs. Yeah. But a lot of people have speculated that if Duke is not one of the top 5 ranked conference champions, that other teams might kind of skip ahead of Duke. Duke might not make it to the CFP, and there might be no ACC team in the college representing it all. Yeah. So that's very interesting to see how that's all going to play out. Now, obviously, if Virginia makes it, probably not an issue because Virginia would see the CFP as the ACC. It's shocking to not have.
say 19 with only 2 losses right now. Straight off a win. I think it's pretty much a guarantee.
If they win, but if they don't, everything's shaken up. Everything's shaken up. We'll see how it all plays out.
How this plays out. That's going to be exciting, right?
It is.
You should see if we can cover that.
Well, yeah. I mean, anyway, very exciting. It's happening this weekend, so we'll talk about it. The Fnn Sports Zone next Monday will know what happened. And but also, now what I think in what city? Probably Charlotte. Charlotte, I think, right? I think it's Charlotte. Anyway, but the ACC championship happening this weekend. Now, I also mentioned my other team, University, who beat Harvard during the Ivy League championship, also is in the playoffs, which no one would have expected. And they actually won the playoffs in the first trip ever to the football championship subdivision. They beat Youngstown State 33-42. So barely. I mean, it was a come from behind victory too, but they played Montana State next. So in theory, you could see, the Yale Bulldogs somehow made it as the FCS champion. You snuck into the cup, and maybe won the championship. I would be in shock, but it would be as aggressive. Both of those institutions would be. We shall see. Stay tuned. But in the meantime, getting back to reality. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Georgia. Number 4, Oregon. Number 5, Texas Tech. Number 6, Ole Miss, of course, but questions about what's going to happen with if it might influence the playoffs choice who gets to play in the TFP. Number 7, Texas A&M. After falling to Texas. We were talking a little bit about that before we got started here, but Texas beat Texas A&M. So Art Manning, beats Texas, helped to beat Texas A&M. So Texas A&M slipped to number 7. First one of the season. And number 8, Oklahoma. Number 9, Notre Dame. Number 10, Alabama. So obviously, it's going to be really interesting to see who ends up making the playoffs. It really depends on what happens this season. All these conference championships that are going to be happening. Who made from the group of 5, not Power 5, but a group of 5. Who's obviously going to make the college football playoffs, and just talk maybe there'll be 2 group of 5 teams playing in the college football playoffs if Duke wins the ACC. So we shall see how that also plays out. But a lot's going to happen, and then Selection Sunday will be happening this coming Sunday. So you'll certainly know by then who's going to be in the college football playoffs. Meanwhile, here locally, for sports, we would do the town hall that's happening on Wednesday night. We'll be talking about the Arts Bowl, the Cheese and Citrus Bowl, see which teams we might want to consider for those games based on what happens.
That sounds exciting.
It's a lot of fun.
Exclusive, kind of like in-depth, first look at other people out, right?
That's true, to some extent, yes. And so it'll be interesting to see, because obviously Pop-Tarts Bowl, we're very excited. I think I can reveal, since we're going to do that, the Pop-Tarts Bowl will have 6 Pop-Tarts mascots that will be competing. The Pop-Tart that gets chosen to get toasted and eaten by Pop-Tarts Bowl. Very exciting. Last year was only 3 Pop-Tarts that were competing for the right to be eaten by the winning team. This year, 6 mascots competing, and then Cheese and Citrus Bowl. Ched Z doing something crazy. Quite as much social media credit as the Pop-Tarts mascot scene we're getting. A couple of great mascots. Pop-Tarts Bowl, you're going to see, basically, after the college football playoffs get seeded, we get the number 1 pick, pick of the Big 12, and then for the Citrus Bowl, number 1 pick of the SEC, and number 1 pick. So a lot of great teams. I don't say too much, but you won't know why. Certainly by the time we do the Fnn Sports Zone next week, we will know who's playing where.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. When is usually the Citrus Bowl?
So the Citrus Bowl this year is December 31st. It's New Year's Eve. It's 3:30 kickoff. I'm trying to remember. The Pop-Tarts Bowl is December December 27th, also a 3 p.m. or 3 p.m. kickoff. And I'm forgetting which one is which. But December 27th, Colorado 12, December 31st, Patriots Bowl. One game kicks off at 3, one game kicks off at 3:30, and double check from the 6 to see. And you can take it to Kimbrough Stadium and watch the game stand. We'll be going up shortly at the property up there. And also, a really televised on TV, for local listings for them.
I'm really thinking that.
And a Popcorn's goal for you.
But maybe that's the one.
Well, there you go. New Year's Eve.
I might, let's see, maybe I'll cover that, let's see.
Yeah, last year, my son was a South Carolina fan, we got to go. But great friends that were all come to the game and watch the city football. It was exciting. So, he's playing this year. Other college football stuff we should be talking about. I think we've covered a lot.
No, not really. I'm happy with my Virginia, with my Cavaliers, with Virginia, and also JMU.
Yes.
I mean, both my Virginia teams are doing well. And they look getting across the edge. There's a lot of teams out here that are very surprised about. There's just a lot of teams here that they're just fighting. Very happy about Texas. I really watched that game with Arch Manning. He's really not this team. We beat 3 of the top teams, 3 right top teams were discussing for this team about how we should be in it. That loss is we should not have lost. Right. But yeah, so let's see what happens. They're trying to do it.
It will be interesting, because for Texas A&M and Coach Mike Alto has been just an amazing job. Former youth coach at Texas A&M, first cooking boy. And but a lot of it is going to happen just based on what happens in the championships. You got Alabama for the SEC championship, and meanwhile, the Big Ten, you got Ohio State for Indiana, and the Big 12, Texas Tech, BYU. It'll be interesting to see how all those games play out. Because
Yes.
if you win, everything's set. If you lose, you definitely shake up your position.
Absolutely. Depending on where you're at, even Ohio, even Ohio State. I mean, they obviously they're good, but for the loss, how they lose, technically not too far back. So that can really hurt like just one loss, depending on how they lose.
Right. Well, that's the thing. It's really, a lot of these teams that win have the advantage of getting a bye in round 1. Right. The top 4 teams don't have to play, they get a bye. And so it's really the teams 5 through 12, basically, that at the first week, and then the teams and the 14 that win. So, yeah, I mean, that's really what's at stake. These championships this weekend, really, who's going to be getting by.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, this is a huge week of games.
Yeah.
It's out. So it's going to be a big one.
Definitely. So stay tuned for that. And moving on to the NBA, very exciting week for the Orlando Magic fans this past week. Not only have the Magic been winning a lot of the games, but they also won at least phrase that, they won their quarterfinals. So that was very exciting. Basically, they didn't see the game on Friday. They beat the Pistons. It was an exciting game. Great game. They beat the Pistons in Detroit, and as a result, they ended up 4-0 in their group, which meant the best record of all these teams, basically. And so they are going to be hosting the Miami Heat on December 9th in the quarterfinals for the NBA Cup. That is 6 o'clock. Tickets just went on sale. And the Magic are, I think, there are a lot of deals. If you look online, you can find like logo deals, buy one, free. So if you want to go catch the NBA Cup game Tuesday at 6 p.m., tickets are available. And I know you really do need to sell out Kia Center just to kind of support the Magic and support people to make an effort to try to get out here on the Magic, because we don't want Miami coming up. Right. We don't want that.
Right.
But and if they win, if you go on to Vegas, they would play basically depending on the Raptors versus the Knicks, because the Raptors and Knicks are going to be playing also on Tuesday. They're going to play, and both games will go on to Vegas. So it's actually interesting they have to play. If the Knicks lose to the Raptors, the Knicks will host the Magic on the 14th of December. If the Raptors lose to the Knicks, the Raptors will come to Orlando, and the Magic will host the Raptors on the 15th here at Kia Center. So depending on what happens there, that's a big. If the Magic wins, the Magic win, they go to Vegas, and they will face the Raptors in Vegas. Then in the West, we'll follow what's going on in the West on December 10th. At 7:30, we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder playing the Suns. And at 10 o'clock p.m. on the 10th, you've got the Lakers facing the Spurs. So those games also would go on to Vegas. The winner of that game would then face the winner of the semifinals. So hopefully the Magic will win it out. And if they do, if you're keeping track, by the way, the semifinals in Vegas will be on Saturday, December 3rd. The games will be at 5:30 and 9 o'clock, and then the final game, the championship game, will be Tuesday, December 16th at 8:30 in Vegas. Championship game, by the way, is not a regular season game. So that game is just to see who wins the championship, but it does not count for a regular season game.
Only a couple weeks away.
Only a couple weeks away. So it's coming up, and for what it's worth, it's kind of interesting. The teams that make some important finals, basically players, even if they lose, are going to go home with $51,497 per player. You can imagine, just 80 quarterfinals. Every player on the Magic is getting 51 grand plus, just for making it that far. But if they make it to the semifinals, they end up with $102,990 per player. The runner-up of the championship will get $205,988 per player. And the champions, if the Magic send the NBA Cup, they will win $514,988 per player if they're able to win. So a lot of money to stake for
Look, $500 million. Not
bad, especially for some of these young guys that are not making.
They really need that.
They need it. They need it.
They don't for even 100 grand.
That's right. If you're piling up your funds, you don't need it. It's nice to have it. You don't need it.
You got your deal already.
That's right. For me, for the Magic tonight, they are playing the Bulls, and he's here to talk about NBA. Working that game, so he's at the center for that Magic game against Chicago Bulls tonight at 7:30. He'll be there for coverage. He'll be there for coverage, and then hosting the Spurs on Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. But sadly, I do not believe that Victor Wembanyama will be playing in that game. Even if he comes back from an injury Tuesday, and the assumption is that he will play the home game in San Antonio and make back to that. They're going to work yeah, he's not coming to Orlando. Yeah. But maybe I'm wrong.
I say hopefully, even if he's ready, they still may push him longer than they stay.
I think I think they're winning. The Spurs are doing well, but that's the face of the franchise. He is the face of the franchise. I'm not going to take any of it. So, then they will also, Magic also will play the Heat on Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. On Friday, December 5th, this sort of preview of what will happen on the 9th, the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
First game of the NBA Cup.
Right, exactly. So,
it is, and what's interesting is really that means that the Magic are actually playing the Heat 5 times this season for the NBA Cup. So that doesn't normally happen. And then the Magic do have a game on the road. They're playing the Knicks on December 7th at noon at Madison Square Garden. So, again, that is sort of different, because it also gives them sort of another look at the Knicks if they end up facing the Knicks in Vegas. It's a potential. Could happen. So anyway, that's what's going on. Hopefully that'll make sense for those that are trying to talk about the NBA.
a lot of information.
That's right. But of course, this past week was Thanksgiving. We both have a lot to do. you were able to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, giving an standpoint, you able to start before I got into before I left, I was here in Orlando, and I was actually able to be a part of my organization that I'm part of it with. We are able to do a lot of development, community development work. And so one of our initiatives is being able to bring meals to homes. So we were able to do something that is called Sunday Soup for the Soul. And it's really similar of a soup kitchen, but we were able to do a bunch of different foods and everything. And we were able to actually use the community center for Catholic and to be part of them. We were able to basically and residents in that housing over there. We were able to bring them over to the community center, feed them, also do performances, graphics, all types of things, and pictures and things. But really bring the fire experience, so not just feeding, but bringing a really nice experience to them that they could remember. And just trying to. So that was a way of getting back and being able to take care of the community that you don't have. So very touching, just powerful moment that I was able to be a part of. Nonetheless, I appreciate that. And we have probably 30, 50 volunteers that also helped with that initiative. So myself, Melrose as well, we were able to make this happen, and well, and a bunch of other people involved with set this up and put these things together. So great impact. And we are going to be doing this stuff. And it's going to be an annual event we're going to start doing, and hopefully even more in the community. So for me, I was able to get back there, and something that was a great moment for me. But also, I was able to travel the day before Thanksgiving. I traveled up back to the town, my home city, and spent some time with my family. Probably 100 of them, probably. Oh, but the event was a lot of people, and so we were able to get all the family together, family reunion style, and I was able to eat a lot of great food and spend a lot of great time with the family and the kids and everything. A bunch of pictures, so it was nice to be back. But drove right down the road, went straight. I told Julia, went straight to the game to not drive. Got the road, I was like, okay, I gotta get to the game. So I got back on the road, went to Tampa, covered that game, and luckily was able to make it happen and get everything done. And the other content as well. So you'll be seeing that on the Facebook page. Yeah. And so how about yours though? Everybody else?
Yeah, listen, it was great to have our daughter and our son were back in town for Thanksgiving. That was fantastic. Our son, I was able to join him to go over to get that from a couple of Magic games. We saw a couple of victories by the Magic. That was really exciting. Speaking of the Magic too, we should point out that they also really gave back to the community in a couple of ways. On Thanksgiving Day, they were giving our meals and homeless. And earlier in the week, I know that Monday before Thanksgiving, I believe it was, they were over at the Boys and Girls Club eating, and they were giving them access to all of those that were there. And as a permanent of the Boys and Girls Club for Seminole County, always nice to see the support of the Atlanta Magic. They really do a great job supporting the Boys and Girls Clubs and many charities throughout Central Florida. So thank you to the Magic for doing everything they do for the community. But great Thanksgiving, and also I was also noticing on social media this past week or so, I'm kind of having a lot of memories popping up on Facebook. It's been 5 years since the launch of this book, Fourth Down and Damn Alone, autobiography by Brodsky, which folks who are not familiar with Cersei, three-time national champion of Miami Hurricanes, and also because the Steelers actually Coach Bill Cowher's first round draft pick was Leon Cersei, and he became a free agent with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And a very exciting story. And whether you're a football fan or not, I think it's a lot of great information here, not just on the football sports, but also a lot of life lessons from doing in the late 90s was actually high school lineman in the NFL. Broken twice divorced, made a couple of mistakes along the way, but kind of got the hitting bottom. Certainly, coming back, and he's actually doing quite well now. He's video in Nashville on Jaguar's flagship station, lunch with Leon, and here in the Jacksonville area, and here Leon in action. But so I saw a lot of pictures of it popping up on social media from 5 years ago when we launched this book during the COVID season. Interesting time to do it. We were launching it actually with Steelers were playing Jaguars. The stadium back then, not yet. And but check out what you can find. We're down again on Amazon, Big Tag or Kimbrough as well as Audible.
I'll be reading it too.
Yes, I check it out. Right. Absolutely. So I appreciate that. I'll get to your thoughts. Absolutely. But so thank you all for joining us here on Fnn Sports Zone. Of course, we're very thankful that you're joining us this evening. We'll be back again. You want to?
The only thing I was going to add is that anyone who donate, volunteer, or be a part of my organization, myself and Melrose organization, you can reach out at YCs afterward, or you can also reach us at YCCOG.com for more information.
Okay, fantastic. So, well, thank you very much for joining us. Stay tuned to Florida National News for more information, for more sports, and we'll be back with Fnn Sports Zone next Monday at 6:30. See you then.